So right now I'm gonna go over, this is like the midpoint, so I'm gonna go over things that I've already discussed, and I'm also gonna have some additional information that I didn't include in the timeline this far. So Louis Armstrong was born on August 4th, 1901 in New Orleans. He was born in a section that was so poor it was called the Battlefield. Um, on New Year's Eve in 1912, Armstrong fired his stepfather's gun, and he was then arrested and sent to Colored Waif's Home for Boys. That's where he kind of received the musical instruction, and that's really where he began to fall in love with music. And then in 1914, the boys' home released him, and then he started pursuing his dream in a music career. In 1918, he married Daisy Parker. She was a prostitute, and then he also adopted his cousin's child, Clarence. And his cousin died during childbirth, and so he adopted Clarence, who was also mentally challenged. In 1919, Armstrong spent his summers playing on riverboats with a band led by Fate Marble, and this is where he kind of started meeting people and getting gigs. So this was kind of a really important part in his career. That's where he started understanding how to read music, and then he started meeting other jazz musicians, including Bix Beiderbecke and Jack Teagarden. In 1922, he received a call from his mentor, King Oliver, to come and play with him in Chicago and join his Creole jazz band on the second quartet. He then dated a female pianist in the band, Lillian Hardin, and they married in 1924 after he got a divorce from his first wife, Daisy. And then in 1924, Hardin, his wife, thought that his mentor was holding Armstrong back, so she made him cut ties with him and go to New York and join Fletcher Henderson's orchestra. And things didn't go too well there because Armstrong and the urban orchestra didn't really get along. They would make fun of the way he talked and the way he dressed. So then he cut ties and he left there. And then he got his own recording band, Louis Armstrong and his Hot Five, and they recorded from 1925 to 1928, and they made more than 60 records. And he also recorded with the Hot Five and then later the Hot Seven. He also began singing on recordings and popularizing wordless scat singing, which was hugely popular on the vocal in 1926, the Heebie-Jeebies. And then the summer of 1929, he headed to New York, where he had a role in a Broadway production, Connie's Hot Chocolates, which was a pretty big deal, and this was a really big contributor to music. And then in 1932, Armstrong had begun appearing in movies, and he made his first tour to England. And so that's it for the video recap, and then we'll take it off from here to the final video later, I guess.